Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and I'm back again with my gal. What?
Go live.
Oh, yes, I'm back again with my gal pal posse, and to do part 4 of the Decoding the Presidential 3/11/2020 address. And this, I did say part 4, right? Yep, I did. Okay. I had to hit the go live button. So we're going to do now, for those who might be following along, paragraph 12, 13, and 14.
Yay.
All right, so I'll jump right in. At
Yes.
the same time, we are monitoring the situation in China and in South Korea. And as their situation improves, we will reevaluate the restrictions and warnings that are currently in place for a possible early opening. So anything, either of you want to jump forward, anything that comes for you in that paragraph?
Well, I like that. I'm getting the feeling here that with the monitoring the situation in China and South Korea, and if the situation improves, we reevaluate. It's like, it depends on you how this goes. You know, we're watching, and this could be super easy and super quick, or we could do it the hard way.
Right.
Kind of had the feel to it for me.
Right. Yes.
I didn't have anything specific on either one, except for some reason I had a ping on South Korea.
Ooh.
I don't.
My ping was do research and what have I not, what's a data point that's not come fully into my awareness that would be helpful to put there.
Right.
That was, you know,
Okay.
I just have an R next to that and go do some research because there's something there that's
Oh, for you too, for
Yeah.
South Korea.
intriguing.
So that's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that pinged
Eyes on
both of
South
us,
Korea.
the fact that pinged both of us for some reason without coming forward specifically, because at first I was like, wait a minute, why South Korea? Because, you know, they're our ally, we got bases there, all of these things. Now, I know the deal with North Korea, having been, you know, really held captive by the cabal, for now we know, rather than them being, you know.
You mean CIA headquarters? Is that what you were saying?
Well, exactly. So when it was South Korea, I was like, okay, they're, you know, so interesting. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, when he said it, I thought, huh. Find out suss out what's illuminating there and get it. So that was my thought. The other thing
I don't know why. Wait a minute. I don't know why, but this just came in as a possibility. So I don't know if this means anything, but I'm going to research, and I want to say it right now in case anybody else watching now or later gets pinged like this.
Okay.
I do know that when he first took office, one of the very first things that he began doing was rebuilding our military.
Yeah.
And I know that South Korea has one of the larger bases. Well, China, we also know, was heavily involved in selling degraded steel to the United States.
Yes, Washington State, along with being ground zero for other things, was ground zero for their degraded steel.
And a lot of the military aircraft and everything that was being made for the military was made using a lot of that degraded steel.
On purpose.
On purpose, absolutely on purpose. And what a lot of folks may not realize is that is why he put as much money into the military as he did, to replace all of that So because those two things with the base, that's why I said that just came in. I wonder if that's part of it. Maybe there's I have a feeling.
Well, yeah, that ties into the other ping that I got in this, which is the early opening.
Yeah.
Right.
So just those two words, early opening. So something aside from the ruse, look over here, that's going to be this. Because someone just said, well, yeah, it's the early opening possible. Early opening is different. If you're lifting a restriction, you're lifting a restriction. You're not having an early opening. They're entirely different, right?
Well,
if
here's
you've got
the
a ban, you stop the ban. You don't have an early opening. I mean, come on, let's complete the sentence in English that goes with one thing and the other.
Well, to that very point, actually, we will reevaluate the restrictions and warnings. Okay, why the word warnings?
Right.
So that's, and for some reason that's tied in with, yeah, okay, so a little research on that is in order.
Yeah, that's an R paragraph for research.
Yeah, I've got a big old
paragraph 13.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this week, I met with the leaders of health insurance isn't that interesting? Okay, there's no the. Earlier this week, and this is a vetted speech. They didn't just miss it.
No, that's right.
And he doesn't miss, contrary to what some people think, he doesn't misspell things by accident. He doesn't forget how to spell things or forget letters. So, very interesting. Specifically because it's preceding that particular industry. There's no the.
Yep.
So that's right. Earlier this week, I met with the leaders of health insurance industry who have agreed to waive all co-payments for coronavirus treatments, extend insurance coverage to these treatments, and to prevent surprise medical billing. So for me, other than just catching the is not there, which is highly significant. The other thing that he's taught, so it's a pay attention to this marker is what I'm getting of the surprise medical billing. At the time that he said it, this to me was signaling in the context of the whole financial, the new financial system coming through and the various debt jubilees.
Right. Well, for some reason, I didn't have anything until just this moment, but as the as the new health technology comes online, the health industry, whether there's a the or whatever, insurance, I don't think it's done for anyway.
It is. It's gone the way of the dodo.
And so perhaps that's part of it. For me personally, to put prevent surprise billing in there was a warning.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead and gouge at your own risk. If you think you're going to get away with it, you are not.
Right. Yeah, well, I get that for the whole thing, but there's also surprise medical billing, as in a surprise, you're going to get a medical billing that's actually just a receipt for all payments, all prepaid, prepaid, pre-authorized, and pre-approved. So you will get something if you heretofore thought you had, an outstanding balance, that will be gone, but you also will be made known that it's all prepaid, pre-authorized, and pre-approved.
Right.
So henceforth,
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that there's to waive co-payments. That was the other thing that came up, because I wrote a note here over to the side, that the exempt of all co-payments on a whole to all beings will be waived henceforth. That was what highlighted for me.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
this,
because honestly, when I was feeling into the co-payments thing, it's okay, I'm going to use usual and customary that if you go to the doctor, and it doesn't even really matter why,
Right.
there's going to be a co-payment
Exactly.
if you have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that very interesting on the whole.
right. That's why I think that's one of the reasons I made that notation, that you're exempt on the whole.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else on anything on that paragraph 13?
Oh, I noticed one thing. I missed that coronavirus. So it's actually twice in the whole document. This is the only other paragraph that it is specifically mentioned in that particular way.
And again, coronavirus treatments, and the words treatment specifically highlights for me, because there could be and we get into this a little bit further in the next paragraph, but again, this languaging, especially being governmental, especially being in a heightened concern thing, especially at the level of a presidential address, does not have the normal and customary linear medical based, drug based, symptom treating, not holistic, or even thinking that there might be a whole person there to treat.
Right.
So that is very telling to me.
Yeah.
Okay, number 14, which I think is very interesting. We are cutting massive amounts of red tape to make antiviral therapies available in record time. So antiviral highlighted for me, and record time highlighted for me. I'll just finish out the paragraph. It says, these treatments will significantly reduce the impact and reach of the virus. So the virus. So again, go back to what we've been talking about, how the virus is the virus in different ways is different entities.
Right.
Antiviral therapies. Well, nowhere in this, we're talking about cutting red tape. We're talking about available in record time. We're talking about treatments. We're talking about significantly reducing the impact and reach of the virus. Nowhere are we talking about vaccines, anywhere at all, not even a whiff of it. In fact, we're actually so obviously pointing to more integrative, whole approach medicine than we have in other places. So antiviral, I mean, as you and I, Sheila, when we were talking about this off camera, I could point to some things I have right on the shelf that are colloidal silver. There's tea tree oil. There's vitamin D. There's all sorts of things that are antiviral, antimicrobial, boosting your immune system, that are all of these therapies that are not something that can have that are not a contagion type thing that is the doom of the population, and so on and so forth.
Right. That was something that was very interesting to me as well. And those that have come back to join us, I want to point out, because he does mention vaccines, and I don't know that we're going to get to it, but not in this paragraph. And for me, the fact that this came first, before, and when we get to that paragraph, you'll see why I feel it was mentioned the way it was.
Well,
Yeah.
and cutting in, I'm sorry, cutting in, you said mention first, but also in with the red tape.
Right.
I'll tell you what highlighted for me immediately when I saw the red tape in conjunction with health therapies. I thought of all of there's a lot of technology that uses frequency, light, and sound that also help the body, just assist the body. The body already can deal with anything, but there's a lot of things we're doing to the body that makes it nearly impossible for the body to do that. But there are things that, due to bureaucracy and red tape, have been confiscated and kept, from us. So an inventor goes to put a patent in and it gets taken, and we're not allowed to share in the goodies. And so I felt like that was coming to an end, and that now we're going to have free choice through a plethora of modalities heretofore we've not even been allowed to consider.
Yeah, Kevin Westring, actually, you must have been feeling Kevin, because he said specifically, Rife technology, Rife
I
wands.
was thinking
everyone.
of that exactly, Rife. But there are others too. I
Right.
mean, that's like
Well, there's stuff in
granddaddy of that
Antarctica.
kind of.
There's stuff, the modalities in Antarctica that would point to the record time. Like, hey, look, we just invented this thing. Look at that. We're, light years away, and hey, it's, of course, it's old technology compared, because it's, so that's part of what highlighted for me. Also, again, the red tape. I mean, cutting massive amounts of red tape, that highlights for me a number of things. Like, think of all of the alternative medicine doctors that have been offed. I mean, the list
Yes.
is long.
Yep.
So the red tape into releasing information about that, and all of their work are, pulling it out of where it's making a mistake. It has not been lost. It's just been archived away from the thing. So yeah, those are significant. The other thing is that the impact and reach. Again, not often impact perhaps, but not reach of when you're talking about a medical thing. It could be maybe, where it's spreading on a geographical way. But what is highlighting for me in this is the impact, significantly reduced impact and reach, is making me, I think we've discussed this a little before in part one or two, Sheila, but that everybody's body is, on all of their bodies, but everybody's body is going through all these significant changes and transformations, and total restructuring and rematerializing in new forms, in new actual building block components. So the molecular structure of your body is changing to crystalline, because it's so that's soul-based way. That is the evolution that's happening right this moment, and your DNA is flowering into that configuration for itself. So you yourself are the antidote and the blocker and the wall to that. But it's and he goes on and actually addresses this in another paragraph that we'll get to, not tonight, but the carbon, that part, and it's very small in comparison to the whole percentage, has the potential to get a virus, any of these viruses that we're talking about here. Only if one is having that split of not being in alignment with the soul, with all the things that we've kind of talked to, specifically directly and also alluded to, of being in alignment with these changes. Remember, we talked about we're not fixing things, we're bringing down the old and bringing up the new at the same time.
Right.
So part of that, with the impact and the reach, is again, is a good place, and was really highlighting for me for people to actually grasp that you. Okay, well, I'll say it plain. So they could come up with a vaccine, if the funders right now of a certain vaccine that's out there, if you care about yourself and anyone else, don't take it, because it is designed specifically. It won't do jack for the virus, the beer thing, because the beer thing can be solved by a lot of more simple, although people wouldn't believe it because they're trained not to. But what's in the vaccine is scrambling. My thought process is slowing down. In the vaccine is a way to scramble the molecular structure that is converting, that is doing that transformation from the carbon base to the crystalline base, to thwart. It won't ever, because you can't thwart source, but to delay and.
No, but it can damn sure derail it,
Yeah.
and somehow bastardize it. And part of the reason I feel very strongly about this myself is that I am well acquainted with a young lady right now whom I feel is very vaccine damaged and has horrific allergies, including a peanut allergy. And these are all things that scramble and change the molecular truth of the human body. And that is old news. That particular thing is old news. And this particular thing that you're speaking on here, I feel very, very, very much the same way.
Yeah.
The stepped up version of the old. Yeah.
Well, it's not the intent isn't to make you sick. If that's a sidebound, but hey, Yahoo, that's cool. But
Right.
But what the intent is to, because what the intent is to do is to corral in the
less aware sheep, perhaps.
no, I was going to say we're beyond critical mass now, and we're in a flow point that keeps overfilling the critical mass and spilling over. So more even if you just get splashed by a little light, it drills in and wakes up, right? Mm-hmm. So because of that, there's the thought is that since the fear and the toilet paper apocalypse and all this other kind of stuff is not working like they planned, right? Then this is the next step. You go, okay, great. Well, we got them running, so we've already gotten there heightened and depleted because they're on fear. They're in the savior mode and complex and all that meme that's going on for them. And their body, some of them by fear and they're on that. We've already got them kind of going on that route. They're kind of raising an eyebrow here and there, but some of them are going down that route. So now we give them the vaccine because, hey, that's to say, take this. It's a quick fix, right? And hey, we did it in record time. It's not to do anything about the virus per se. It may or may not, but its intention is for things that most people don't even know exist, of your ascension. And it will stop it, at least in a momentary fashion, in the tracks. Their thought is, of course, I have this is probably a whole nother conversation. I have a thought on how well and poorly for them that will go. In fact, it will be such an unintended consequence that they're like, when people all of a sudden pop into their superhero costume and go, hey, I'm all here now, kind of thing. But anyways, that's what it is, because the thought is that they can mitigate the balance, the critical mass balance already being reached, and pull it back in so that they can say, look, it's a shop worn bullshit theory, but anyways, that's what part of this.
Right.
But this for me is pointing to all the knowledge of all this, the working through all of this, and the education and illumination for all who aren't aware of that coming through. Unless there be anybody who's thinking, well, oh no, this is the vaccine and Trump's he's gonna push this vaccine through. No, watch. He's been very, 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 very implicit and explicit and demonstrative on using vaccine, yes, because look at where his spot is. Marketing, sales. This is a linear planet in a dualistic society, and if you better have those kind of buzzwords to go with all the things that you're swimming up tide against of the mainstream media about, response and all those trigger words. So vaccine is there. That's not actually, he's not pushing any of that. What he's pushing actually is all those other therapies. And if you knew something about Trump, and one of the reasons, aside, there are multiple reasons, but one of the main reasons is a personal payback that he's doing what he's doing and given his life up to do this. Is his
Right.
who was vaccine damaged.
Well, for me, that's what we were speaking on here. The fact that paragraph 14, we are cutting massive amounts of red tape to make antiviral therapies available in record time. These treatments will significantly reduce the impact and reach of the virus. The fact that that came first is, for me, the largest signal.
Yes.
Right there, the fact that it came first. And what you were speaking to for me, BZ, you're absolutely right. For those who think he's going to push that as a mandatory thing or whatever, A, I don't think so. And B, but of course he has to say that they're working on a vaccine. Of course he has to say that it's going to be made of, that he supports it and whatever, because of a couple of things. Well, for crap's sake, the guy couldn't even stop China from coming in without people calling him a racist. So, it's a very fine line.
Yeah, we're still in the linear world. We're still in duality, and so you've got to market to that where people are in that thing.
Yeah, there are people calling and begging for vaccinations.
Yes.
He cannot take that choice away from them, A.
No.
And B, his personal preference is something different. And so, everyone has their prerogative. And I'm with you, Sheila. The fact that he mentions this first means that's where his heart lies.
Yes.
And that it's first in all the ones that come, and there's just a little bit in the middle, but it's 14th.
Well, but I mean, he's mentioning this before he talks about vaccines, because that is.
I understand, but all of this is 14th on the list.
Right.
The focus of this is about the beer virus.
I see.
Right? We forgot why the focus was, right? The presumptive focus, the marketing focus of this piece is about the beer virus. We got to kill it. We got to eradicate it. We got to get rid of that germy thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way.
Wait until the 14th paragraph, and we're not even talking about the needle in the 14th paragraph. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's right.
To what you're saying.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was just remarking on the fact that he was saying it before he talked about vaccines.
Right.
And Lisa, I love the way you put that. First of all, because the two of you have helped me more than anybody else see that every being gets a choice.
Yes.
In this evolutionary process. if you choose, you know, I'm sorry, I can hear my grandmother's voice in my head. So you're gonna jump off of the Empire State Building if all your friends are doing it. But if you choose, well, then you choose. It's your choice. And so you're right. He can't take that away from anyone.
No, but the last thing I'll add to this part in this video is that he can't. But because it hasn't started until the 14th paragraph, number one. Number two, because it precedes any mention of the CDC and the other things, right? He's also signaling that he knows, and it's against the prime directive. You can't, there's non-interference clause, right? From a universal basis. But he can illuminate you that there are other ways. Try those, see, you can always take the vaccine, but just like when you have a vaccine, you have a swab that swabs the skins, antibacterial and all that kind of stuff. So let's do this first. Oh, in this vaccine, you take that, and then there's a little bit of a time, and it's record time. Here's the other clue for the virus is record time. You take the swab just like you do on before, quote unquote, the injection, and the record time is that's it. You don't need to go like this and squirt the air bubbles out because that's it.
Yeah.
That's the record time.
Yep. I agree. Well, the truth of the matter is you also alluded to the whole savior factor about it. And that for me, this, all of this right now, sovereignty is the name of this game. And what that means is we each take 100% full responsibility, accountability, and liability for ourselves, our health, everything at this moment. And quite frankly, we all know I have been called the water Nazi, and it does seem so simple. It sounds crazy that a person could go from being so ill just by drinking enough water and getting themselves hydrated. But the truth of the matter is, when you don't take your own health into your own hands and you're not well to begin with, if you're looking for a pill, I can say this because I'm talking about myself.
Been there, done that.
Oh, please. And so I'm just saying, if you're looking on the outside for anybody, please just give me a pill. Let me do it the easy way.
It's not how it works. And it won't,
No,
and it won't. And in these energies, in these moments, because this is where we are, that's small, and it simply is not supported. It simply will not work.
No.
Well, it just doesn't work overall. And the biggest thing is, if your body is not in homeostasis, meaning all symbols go, everything where it should be, no diagnosis is going to be correct.
Right.
That's what I know for myself. Anything that a doctor may tell you, he's guessing. Because if
he's treating symptoms,
well,
and that's never going to get to.
But that's a whole other story.
Ask Sheila how she knows that. Yeah, well, that concludes paragraph 14, unless either one of you guys
Nope.
have anything else. The only other thing that just came in about the reach of the virus for me has to do with the energetic bodies.
Yes.
So, because some of these things that we were discussing on, and with the Rife technology and that sort of thing, has to do with that as well. I want to check in because we do still have 10 folks watching.
Well, and also the whole thing I was talking about, the ratio between the carbon, what in each being is different when where they are, the carbon and the crystalline makeup of their body.
Right. You know, I know there's Kevin Westring said something in regards to the 5G. That's why they want it so bad. But I have to tell you, there's something about 5G that I'm feeling a little different about.
Yeah,
Again,
there was a signal. Well, seems like a long time ago now. I think it was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, where I can't think of his name right now, but he's the interim director of DNI,
yeah,
and he put out a tweet, which is a very telling tweet, that all of the, you look at that, the European countries would not, if they didn't buy their 5G technology from the approved vendors, which
Yeah,
means the ones that have been changed, where the 5G has actually been altered and changed, that they would not get any of their, I think it was technological and military contracts fulfilled.
oh really?
Yes, it was a tweet. It was directly like, just got off. The tweet is something akin to, I think it's 2 tweets because it's more than 180 characters, but it's something akin to, just got off the phone conversation with President Trump, and he asked me to relate. He's the ambassador to Germany, among other things. He's got 3 hats right this moment until John Radcliffe is approved. But he just got off the phone with President Trump, and he directed me to pass along to European allies or counterparts or whatever, for his phrasing was, about 5G and the specific approved vendors.
Well, when he stopped that merger with Qualcomm and all of that, I knew there was something there. I wasn't quite sure exactly what, and all that stuff with Hawaii. So but I also have felt like, and this just did, we are so magical, period, that it hasn't mattered what's been thrown at us. I mean, let's be real. We're figuring out a way to circumvent it.
We work around it, you see.
Yeah, right?
Well, I look at it this way. I am my own problem reaction solution. So if I see a problem, I'll go, I don't like the way this feels, tastes, sounds, whatever it is. So I then transmute it into something that works for me. See? Mm-hmm. And then I become the antidote to that particular irritant, if you will. And then I now have antidote frequency in my field. And I go bumping down the street, and I am now freely making this available, gifting all those who come in contact, and they can take it and run with it or not. It's their choice.
Right. And so take what you said, which is brilliant, and then you add the flip to it, which is you can also because you have a knowing of that and a holding of that and a transmitting of that, you can also do it where when you become the manufacturer of the problem to then make a solution through that whole chain, because in a negative constrictive way, you can you flagged it for yourself. It's like you can see if there's a false flag. Lisa's making a what? Heads up, Lisa's making a false flag alert. We got, and so you navigate the same way. If your brain, the ego mind wants to take over, do that. So yeah, you're doing both ways, but that's balancing out the expansive to any constrictive things that might come in.
I wanted to address one other comment in the in our chat here, ladies, because almost everyone that started with us came back for every one of these, and I want to thank you all for this. This is awesome. Carpe Diem said, I heard a rumor they're talking mandatory vaccines for this in Denmark. And I really want to address that in specific. Anytime, we are our own worst enemies with some of this stuff, because that is exactly why, in my view, that what I have now termed the lamestream media has hyped this to no end, partially because they know that there's an endless stream of folks who will jump on that bandwagon and perpetuate all manner of sort of things out there. And so for me, until somebody comes knocking at my door saying, I got a needle here for you with your name on it, I don't care.
A lot of people are going to meet that door and say, I got a Winchester here that's got a little metal with your name on it.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, I agree.
That's a gunfight, right?
I agree, but I'm just saying, because this does happen a lot, you know. If I heard a rumor, or they're talking about, when in fact it probably isn't actually even being talked about.
The way that I would play with that is, I think it's interesting that the rumor would be Denmark. I'm not an expert on Denmark, and I could be wrong, but my sense is that Denmark is one of the countries that actually is notorious for their good health and living in a way that is not vaccine, that is not straight line medical procedure, just treat the symptom and not the patient. That's part of their whole lifestyle and their ethic, along with the number of hours that they don't have their work week is much shorter, and all those kinds of things. So could be wrong, but from what my sense and knowledge from the Danes that I know and interactions I've had with that's actually an anathema to their mandatory of anything in that thing is anathema to their culture.
Well, I have to say, for me personally, ever since, because you know, I said earlier, my awakening, my spiritual awakening, came way after the fact. I went down every rabbit hole, and where the conspiracy theories, and well, now we might as well say conspiracy facts, are concerned, for the longest time. But I also know that back when, you know, we were all hearing that the FEMA camps were being built, and we were all, and there was even the rumor that there were guillotines, because if you didn't take the vaccines, you were going to have your head chopped off.
Off with your head.
And those sort of things, right? And then, you know, so, and I'll tell you what I said then, and I'll say it now. Okay, if that's what it takes, you're not putting a needle in my arm. I'm done with all that. So whatevs, and go about my business, because until it happens, I'm not going to be in fear, because that's kind of exactly what they're going for. and B, I just don't, like I said, I still know people who put tape over their cameras because they're worried somebody's going to see them. And I'm telling you, wow, that, you know, there's a hell of a lot more of us than there are of them. And they've used all of that kind of information to their advantage in the game of oppression.
You know, I decided I was really glad that somebody was listening to me. Maybe they will learn something.
Yeah, well, no, that's
I hope
the truth.
everyone's tuning in.
Well, I've always said on many conversations that I know I recorded going, I know I talk a little fast, so if you want me to repeat that last part, just let me know.
And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them out, because I'm here for that.
Because I'm sure you got my number.
Yeah.
Just saying. Well, you know, in the age of transparency, okay, we all, the way this is going with the ascension, descension thing,
Yeah.
Telepathy.
How telepathy works. You can't hide it from me because
No,
you're
that's
broadcasting it.
so, I don't know. It's a thing. I just
That's a whole other show.
yeah, that is a whole other. But thank you, Carpe Diem, for sharing that, because you brought out something that I really wanted to address in all of this anyway. And I really want to thank all of you guys. This has been a lot of fun on all kinds of levels, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to just so you guys know, in case you're interested to know how many more paragraphs there are.
Don't scare them; they won't come back.
Oh, okay. You can find a copy of this for yourself. It will be as soon as we've finished here. I'm going to go in and put all the other information that will live in the show more section of all of these videos, where you can find each one of us, how to get in touch with us. BZ's channel is also listed there. And for those of you that have joined us that are not familiar with BZ, she has a blog called the IUV, and I would advise anyone and everyone to go there if you're not familiar with it, as BZ does keep that is where all the archived information is being stored, that is, well, relative and important is the way I look at it.
Relevant.
And so if you have not subscribed to Conscious Conversation Central, I would love it if you would do so. And also go over and subscribe to BZ's channel, and vice versa. If you're seeing this at a later time, because we're live on Conscious Conversation Central, and you're seeing this on BZ's channel, come on over and subscribe to me. Make sure you hit the notification bell, because as I said, we're going to go live more often.
Yeah, and that's how you'll find us. That notification's important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't find it. So I made sure to hit that bell.
Well, and if you're like me, you got to make sure that the notifications on your device are turned on too, because apparently it's got to be turned on in both places. You can't just do it half-assed. So, I didn't know that. I was like, why is nothing notifying me? So gotta do that. And let's see, have I forgotten anything else, ladies? Did either one of you want to say anything else before we adjourn for the evening?
Well, thanks for ringing in Friday the 13th with me.
Oh, yes. Yeah, thank all of you for ringing in our Friday the 13th, because this
is the best start of a fabulous day I could ever have.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Me and all my closest friends.
Yes, because here on the East Coast it's 12, almost 12:30. So BZ hasn't exactly crossed over into
well, BZ's crossed over, but not into Friday.
Yeah, right. BZ's here too, so she's bilocating at the moment.
Well, that's true.
She has part of herself in yesterday.
Actually, Carpe Diem is bilocating too, because aren't you in Maui? I think so. I think that's where. Well, at any rate, thank you both so much. And I'm not quite sure exactly when, because we got to check with BZ to see when we're going to get together again. I'm hoping it's going to be real soon, and so we can finish this. So till next time.
Yeah, because we're getting to the financial slavery soon.
Yes, the financial slavery stuff. Y'all definitely want to come back for that.
Well, or get rid of it, but
well,
that's what we're excited about. We're sweeping it out the door now.
Come back for the discussion of the sweeping.
Right.
There we go.
That's right. Okay, so till next time.
Much love.